She was 16, walking home from her roller rink job in Lynbrook, New York. For 41 years, the question never changed. Who killed Theresa Fusco? In 2025, investigators say the answer came from a smoothie straw and a 100% DNA match. How do you solve a murder after 4 decades when the wrong men were convicted, the evidence aged, and the suspect vanished into ordinary life? This is Lynbrook, Long Island, November 10, 1984. 16-year-old Theresa Fusco had just been let go from her snack bar job at Hot Skates. Witnesses saw her leave late that night, crying. She never made it home. Almost a month later, on December 5th, Theresa's body was found in a wooded area near Park Place, a few blocks from the rink. The medical examiner determined she'd been sexually assaulted and strangled with a ligature. For more than 40 years, the case haunted Nassau County. 3 men were convicted, then later cleared by DNA. And in October 2025, prosecutors announced an indictment based on a forensic genealogy lead and a discarded smoothie straw. Where are you watching from? Drop your city. We shout out viewers weekly. Today, step by step, how science, persistence, and silence finally broke.
Theresa was 16, family-oriented, working part-time, figuring out life the way most teenagers do. Lynbrook in the mid-'80s was a close-knit place. People knew each other. Doors were often unlocked. Routine felt safe. On November 10th, after her shift, and after being told she no longer had that job, Theresa left Hot Skates visibly upset. The distance home wasn't far. She didn't get there. Her family reported her missing. At first, there were assumptions. Maybe she ran away. Maybe she just needed space. Those assumptions cost time. When her body was found weeks later under leaves in a nearby wooded area, the community's sense of safety cracked. The case drew headlines, pressure, and fear, especially for families with teens walking the same streets.
Investigators collected biological evidence in 1984, important, but in that era, DNA science was limited. The case depended on interviews, timelines, and theories. By 1986, police arrested John Cogut, Dennis Halstead, and John Restivo. Cogut gave a confession later described in court as coerced and inconsistent with facts. There was no DNA matching any of the 3. Still, in a climate demanding answers, all 3 were convicted of rape and murder and sentenced to 25 to life. For nearly 2 decades, they served time while the true male DNA profile preserved from Theresa's body sat unmatched. Then, the science caught up. In 2003, with advanced DNA testing, the semen from the 1984 swab excluded all 3 men. The convictions unraveled. Cogut was retried and acquitted. The indictments were eventually dismissed, and by 2014, civil juries awarded $18 million each to Halstead and Restivo. The case became a cautionary tale. Confession without corroboration is not justice. But the question remained, who left that DNA? In August 2023, the Nassau County District Attorney's Office sent the preserved vaginal swab to Othram, a forensic laboratory in Houston known for building DNA profiles from challenging, decades-old samples. Othram developed a profile robust enough for forensic genetic genealogy. With the FBI's Investigative Genetic Genealogy Unit, analysts searched for relatives in permissive databases, building out family trees across decades of records, census, obituaries, addresses, branches that forked and fell away. By late 2023, one branch pointed toward a surname and a history that intersected with Lynbrook in 1984.
the name investigators eventually focused on: Richard Bilodeau. At the time of Theresa's killing, Bilodeau was 23, living with his grandparents in Lynbrook, about a mile from Hot Skates and the Fusco home. He told investigators he operated a mobile coffee truck in the area back then. There was no known connection to Theresa. Genealogy can narrow the field, but it's not proof. For that, investigators needed a direct DNA comparison.
In early 2024, Nassau County detectives began surveilling Bilodeau, now 63, living alone in Center Marish, working nights at a Walmart. No known criminal record. To neighbors, unremarkable, if a little unsettling. Some recalled telling their kids to keep a distance. Detectives waited, not for a warrant to swab him, but for something he'd discard in public. And one day, there it was, a smoothie cup and straw. Legal to collect once thrown away. The lab compared the DNA from that straw to the 1984 profile. Prosecutors say it came back a 100% match. When questioned in the summer of 2025, Bilodeau denied knowing Theresa. He reportedly remarked, "People got away with murder back then." At the press conference announcing the indictment, DA Ann Donnelly answered, "It's 2025, and I got you now."
There's a heavy twist that frames this breakthrough: the original wrong men. Kogut, Halstead, Restivo served about 18 years before DNA cleared them in 2003, long before forensic genealogy existed. Their story underscores how the right evidence, preserved and tested with modern tools, can both correct and solve. That same vaginal swab that freed them is the evidence prosecutors say ties Bilodeau to Theresa's murder. Investigators and the DA have not publicly disclosed motive. There's no confirmed link between Theresa and Bilodeau beyond time and proximity, and prosecutors declined to speculate about connections to other crimes. In October 2025, Richard Bilodeau was arrested and arraigned in Nassau County on 2 counts of second-degree murder and first-degree rape. He pled not guilty. His next court date is November 21, 2025. The DA emphasized the advances in DNA since 1984. When you have a DNA match, 100% match, we got the guy. This is one of Nassau County's oldest cold case indictments advanced by forensic genealogy, part of a broader trend in which the county reports multiple identifications since 2022 through modern DNA workflows.
Theresa's mother passed away in 2019, never seeing this day. At the announcement, her father Thomas held a small photo of his daughter. It's heartbreaking to go through this over and over again, but this seems like a finalization, and I'm very grateful. There's no victory in the loss of a child, only answers, accountability, and the possibility that careful science can keep other families from the same fate. Lessons learned. Preserve evidence. Record and test confessions against facts. Use science carefully and ethically. Keep asking. In a moment, the legacy beyond this case. The promise and debate around forensic genealogy. Forensic genealogy sits at the intersection of privacy and justice. In this case, the lab-built profile, an FBI genealogy map, and discarded DNA formed a chain strong enough for an indictment 4 decades later. As these tools improve, so do cold case clearances and the responsibility to use them with care. Where are you watching from? Drop your city. We'll shout out viewers next episode. Subscribe for weekly, real solved cold cases and the exact forensic tools that crack them.